Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to my all-new relationship series. Now, each of the entries in my relationship series will have this disclaimer because I need you to know I am not an expert. I don't think there can really be a 100% foolproof expert because people's experiences vary so much and people are just so different. So all my life, I've always been fascinated with relationships, how they work, how they don't work. Now, my dad, he's a minister. He's also been involved in counseling for individuals, couples, and families. My mom, she's got a master's degree in counseling psychology with an emphasis in marriage and family therapy. So bottom line, I grew up with two parents that love to help people, but they had to understand their problems first. And so in them doing so, I started picking up a lot. Now, granted, I still made a lot of mistakes, but because of my parents' insight, I was able to start seeing some of those mistakes as I was making them, as they were happening, and learning from them. Okay? So I did not make the same mistake again and again and again and not realize why. So in this series, I'm going to share with you some of the insights that I learned. Please take everything with a grain of salt. No situation is the same for everyone. So thank you, and let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Devoratorium. My name is Darnay DeVore, and I'm going to be your host. On today's episode, we're going to discuss errors in relationships. This is a series that I'm doing, and this is part 1. On today's episode, we're going to discuss the hero, the victim, and the villain. Now, you might be wondering, what do these things have to do with relationships? These are actually general terms that describe someone's personality, more or less. Some of us are heroes, some of us are victims, but some of us are also villains. And we're going to actually look into each one of those three. So, for instance, a hero. A hero is that personality. It could be a guy or a girl. Most of the time, I found them to be guys, but I've met girls, though, that are heroes as well. But that's a person who likes to help people. They love to help people. They'll go out of their way to help someone. And it could be just talking with them, listening to them, spending time with them, fixing a broken heart, whatever they need. That's what the hero is there for. That's the heroic personality. That's the hero. The victim, that's the personality that always finds something that's the aggressor in their life. There is someone or something that's hating them or that's causing them pain or stress or duress. They just can't seem to figure out how to fix whatever issue that's ailing them. That is your classical victim. Now we have the villain. Now the villain is a little more complex. There are some people who are, they're villains, but these villains are actually out for your destruction, somehow. They want you to hurt. They want you to be in pain. They want to destroy your life one way or the other. But that's a very small percentage of who villains are. Villains, most of the time that I've found, are actually misunderstood characters. They can be heroes. They can be victims themselves, but they're misunderstood by the main victim to be a villain. Okay, so in some cases, I've met victims who claim, "Well, here's my villain," and the villain was their family, their own family. How can your family be your villain? Well, they hate me. They this, they that, and then I say, okay, then I meet the family, and they're the sweetest, nicest people ever, and they don't hate the victim at all. They don't hate him at all. They love them, but the victim is continuously misconstruing one thing for something else. And so the victim has colored them, these characters, as the villains in their life. My problem, here's me. This is just me, and I'm going to take it from my perspective. I've always been a hero, okay? I've always been a hero, and you may wonder what's wrong with being a hero. I grew up this way, okay? All the movies and comic books. Matter of fact, my main guy, superhero, is him right there. That's Shazam, okay? Or Captain Marvel, as he was originally called. All right, but I grew up with that. I love Black Panther, and just there's so many heroes in the Star Wars universe. I wanted to be the good guy, always wanting to be the good guy to help save the world. The problem that I ran into was that I tried to cross over that mentality into a romantic life. And that never happens. No, I don't have a lightsaber. I can't fly. I can't push a car. I can't do anything like that. But what I can do is come into your life and I would save you from your villain in your life. Okay. I could help make your day better. I could mend your broken heart. Whatever you needed me to be, that's what I could do. It just never worked. Never worked no matter how hard I tried. Okay. So I'll give an example. I can see a beautiful girl who is strong, independent, well adjusted, and I can think that's great. But I'll walk right past her and I'll find another beautiful girl who's not so strong, maybe not so well adjusted, not so happy, not so independent. And I would think, that's the one I want. I want the one who can give me purpose. Okay. But that one that gives me purpose is also my doom. It goes hand in hand. All right. I'm going to explain that. The hero, as a hero, we heroes, unfortunately, we need victims. All right. That validates our heroism. I'll give an example is a mother can't be a mother if she doesn't have any kids. Only a woman with kids can take the title of mother. Only a father with children can take the title of father. Only a husband can take the title of husband by having a wife. You see how that works? So only the hero is only a hero as long as he's out there saving victims. That's just how it works. With no victim, I can't be a hero. So that's what I kept doing again and again. That became a pattern of my own. And once I realized it was a pattern, that's when I decided I got to break this pattern. I have got to break this pattern because this has been going on way too long. It happens again and again. It's always the same girl, just a different face, or if you're a girl, it's always the same guy that you're trying to save, but just a different face. So when the personality of the victim, when they find their hero, they confide in the hero. Here is my issue. Here is my problem, whatever it may be. We heroes, we feel empowered to fix it. Oh, yes, I can fix this. But in so fixing that issue, we're looking to also secure a relationship with that person. Because we feel like they're otherwise a decent person, if not for this one issue that they're struggling with in their life. So, yeah, we can fix it. We can fix it for them. But somewhere down the line, we start realizing the problem is a whole lot bigger than what we were initially led to believe. For instance, we may have initially been led to believe as a hero. The victim will ask us, hey, my mighty, strong, and wonderful hero, can you help me push my car into my driveway? Okay, no problem at all. I shall help you push your car into the driveway. But then we start realizing, wait a minute, hold the phone. Your car that you said is actually a 19-car locomotive, and up into your driveway is 10 miles away, and it's all uphill, and I'm wearing roller skates. This problem is way, way bigger than what I thought it was, and I just don't know if I can do it now. It's too big. The problem is way too big, but we've given our word to the victim that we can handle anything because we're the mighty hero. And come to find out, we can't. So we have to break our word, and then the victim is disappointed in us. We've let them down. Sometimes the situation is also that the victim will create problems. The more problems you solve, if you can solve them, the more they will create. And you start asking, why are you doing this? Why are you creating more problems every time I fix one? And, you start realizing that the pain, the duress, the stress in their life, that's their normal state. That's normal to them to have issues that they struggle with. And you as a hero, you keep interrupting that normal state for them. How dare you? How dare you come in and fix their issues? It's just one of those things that it got really, really confusing for me. Or sometimes they can just keep creating issues because they don't believe that you actually care for them. The victim can't really trust that you care for them. So what they'll do is they'll create more problems so you can stick around longer. That coerces you into not leaving when you're done when you've done your job. It's hard for them to understand that you want to live happily ever after with them. There's no such thing in the victim's mind. Okay, they're so used to being the victim. Now, chances are you as the hero, you have mistakenly believed that your love, your commitment, your patience can fix their issues. Now you're starting to realize that that the victim needs serious counseling, and they need a lot of Jesus. Now, in one of my stories, I remember I came in as the hero. About midway through my story, I was the victim. By the end of my story, I was a full-blown villain, and I have no idea how I got there. Yeah, I started off with a "Here I come to save the day," right? That's the hero. But midway through, I became the victim, and it's just, oh man, this is too big. Why does this keep happening to me? I just can't do this. By the end of the story, I was, my power, and you cannot defy my power. Yeah, I was a full-blown villain, okay? The villain. And then I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I'm not the villain of this story. I'm the hero, right? I grew up as the hero. That poster behind me keeps reminding me I'm the hero, right? Right? That's when I started realizing also the scariest thought is that as much as a hero needs a victim, the victim needs a villain. They need those villains because without a villain, they can't be a victim. There's no reason for them to be a victim. So I became the victim the villain in that victim's mind. All right. So I'm sitting there in Victimville by myself, wondering how I got here. But I decided to observe. Let me just watch what happens. And sure enough, the victim went and found herself a new hero. And the new hero comes in and "Here I come to save the..." It's like, I know that song. I used to sing it. Yes. Now someone else is singing it. And they're looking at me like, okay, you're the villain. You're the villain. You stay away from her because I'm going to save her the way you could not. And I'm thinking, oh man, let me keep observing. And I observed that new hero himself become the victim. And then he joined me in Villainville. Yeah, the land of the villains. Come on, brother. Come on in. And he's crying and I tried to save her. I know you did. I know you did. I tried too. And wait. She found the new hero. Let's watch what happens. And here I come. Same thing. And he went from hero to victim. And hey, brother, good to have you. Come on. We got so many in our little club. We could form our own support group. Okay. We can form our own hero support group. How do we get here? The only thing that never changed was the victim. That victim remained the victim no matter how many heroes they brought in. All right. Any of this sounding familiar to any of you out there? No matter how many heroes came to save the day, the victim was the only one that remained the victim. The heroes all went fell from hero to victim to villain. Now, it was during those times when I was suffering the most. I really was, because I had no idea how this happened to me, why this happened to me. And I started realizing that I can't save anyone with something as fragile as my heart. Okay? I only have so much time, so much effort, so much energy, so much patience to give someone who can never give back to me what I give to them. Because, by the way, victims don't give. They can't give. I mean, well, let me rephrase that. They only give what they're able to give, but it's never of much significance. Okay? It's just little things here and there, but the victim is used to being the victim, and they are the ones who are in need. So what they give the hero is minuscule. It's almost nothing. It's almost nothing, nothing that we can live on. Okay. So they don't really give in return. So the best thing I've figured out that I can do is at this point was give them Jesus and get out the way. Okay. Jesus did a lot better job as a savior than I could ever do. So whenever, from that point forward, whenever I meet a new girl, I learn how to listen better. Okay. I learn how to listen way, way better. And I'm hearing them. And when they get to the part where the traumatic issues in their life or the villains in their life and how they need a hero to save them. And then I feel my cape growing down my back, getting ready for action because I'm going to save the day again. And I take that cape off and throw it down and idiot. So okay. So I listen. And then I tell them, I'm sorry for your pain. I'm sorry for your hurt. I'm so sorry for everything that you've gone through. Let me point you to a counselor, someone who can help you through a lot of what you're going through. But I'm going to get out the way because if I'm in the way, I'm going to mix in some of my own thoughts and feelings for one purpose, and that is to be in a relationship with you or to lead you through what you're going through in the promise of being in a relationship with me. I can't promise that. I can't. What I've got to do is get out of the way and let your healing happen. So what I realize is that therapy and counseling, a lot of it, when it comes to our Christian faith, a lot of it starts with the gospel, because we find that a lot of these folks that are hurting, a lot of these victims that are going through what they're going through, and I don't want to belittle it, but it usually surrounds someone or something that they can't forgive. Someone in their life has done them wrong, and they can't get past that. So they have all this baggage that they're carrying with them, and they don't realize it. This baggage is the regret, the remorse, the indignation, the pain, all the stuff they're carrying with them from whomever has done them wrong or whomever they perceived has done them wrong. They carry into the new relationship, and the new hero that comes along now has to deal with the victim's baggage from long ago. That's the baggage that's too big for the hero to deal with. How do you teach someone to forgive? You tell them just to let it go and it's for their own good. Some people thrive. They thrive on not forgiving the person. That's what feeds them. Okay? Because they feel like if they forgive someone, that they're letting that someone off the hook. Perish the thought. That's not the case at all. You're not letting that person control your emotions anymore, or that anger. You're not letting that person, what they did to you, you're not letting that travel with you into your new relationship. You're letting it go. But it's hard for a lot of people to conceive that. What I've learned is forgiving someone starts with prayer, okay? Not, oh, dear Lord, please strike that person dead. That's not the prayer I'm talking about. I'm talking about a good prayer. Lord in heaven, forgive me of my sins, but forgive so-and-so of theirs as well. They don't understand what they're doing continuously, maybe, or what they did to me to hurt me so bad in the past. Heal that person's broken heart. Come into their life and reveal yourself to them. Change them the way you changed me. Help them the way you've helped me. Forgive them the way you keep forgiving me. Now that's a good prayer. That's a good prayer for someone who's done you wrong, and the Bible confirms this. Let's take a look at Matthew 5:44 through 45. It reads, "But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous." We're going to leave this here for just a moment because I want us to understand that if you want to be a child of your Father in heaven, this is part of it. It's praying for people who persecute you, praying for your enemies. That's hard to do. That is hard to do, and it does not make any sense to regular people. But God is not calling you to be a regular person. He's calling you to be his child and to do what he has done and forgive just as he's done for you. What may make more sense to someone is letting them know, if you don't forgive someone of their sin, whoever it may be, but if you don't forgive someone of their sin against you, guess who can't forgive you of your sin? God himself. And if God does not forgive you of your sin, you're not going to spend eternity with him in heaven. Say what? Okay, and now you're shocked, because you're realizing that the baggage you're carrying, the lack of forgiveness that you're giving someone, is going to keep you out of eternal heaven with God, if that matters to you, let's say, and it definitely matters to me. Definitely matters to me. Let's take a look at Matthew 6, verse 15. It reads, "But if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins." What? What? But what if I don't want to forgive them? What if I can't forgive them? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You don't have an eternity with God. Okay? So your eternity without God is going to be far, far worse, because you don't want to forgive someone the way God has forgiven you. Okay? Let's take a look at Romans 5, verse 8. "But God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." We didn't even apologize to God for our sins. We were still sinners. We were rejecting him. We didn't want to have nothing to do with him. And yet in that state, Christ died for our sins. That's God demonstrating his love for us. If we are his children, we got to do the same thing. We got to forgive people who don't ask for our forgiveness. We've got to forgive people who claim they don't even want our forgiveness, or they can care less. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. As long as you are a child of the King, this is what we do. If you're not a child of the King, this is what you must become. You must become this child of the King who can forgive people for what they've done. You are then free from the obligation to make that person pay for what they did to you. It's not up to you anymore. God will deal with that one way or the other in his time and in his way. That is off your plate now. You can move forwards and love again. You can move forward and love again. And ultimately, that's what every victim wants to be able to do. They just don't know how. And then here comes we heroes thinking that all they need is us. Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, we heroes, we tend to have an ego in our own right. And we got to put our egos away. We got to take our capes off and let God do his work for people and get out the way. Get out the way. Now, we can still help someone literally just push their car in the driveway. But when it comes to relationships, we got to let that victim stand on their own. We have to let that victim be who they're going to be in God. Okay? Once they are who they're going to be in God, now there's someone we can actually choose. There's someone worthy. There's someone who can, they can give back what we give as a hero. Okay? And they're no longer a victim. They're no longer a victim, and we're no longer looking for a victim. You see how that works? Now we're looking for someone whom God has redeemed. They're looking for someone whom God has redeemed. And together, we can make it to that eternal kingdom. The eternal kingdom. Thank you for your time today. Stay tuned for the next video.